Who's there? Jason, it's time for bed. The least favorite words of any small child. But Jason's worst nightmare. Do I have to? Can I sleep on the couch? Can I stay in your room? Jason, you're 11 years old now. Sleep in your own bed. We've had this talk before, said his mother. He walked to his room. The way you walk to the executioner when you know it's your neck going in that rope. He climbed in his bed as if he was pulling the rope up. The lights went out, and he put the pillow over his face, and he shuddered because he knew it was coming, the knocking. And there it was. Not even 5 minutes later, he could hear it, the knocking. He could hear it, rhythmic, underneath the floor, echoing around the room. You could not tell where it came from. Was it from down the hall, down the block, underground? I mean, there was no cellar under this part of the house. But what could make a noise like that hour after hour, night after night? His parents had even switched his bedroom to a different one because he cried about it. He wailed about it. He ran away. And still, the same sound. It did not matter where he was. The sound was always there. The knocking, 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 knocking. What was it, and why wouldn't it stop? And sometimes he'd shout, and the shouting now just got him in trouble because now his parents thought it was for attention. But he was terrified. His mind would come up with all sorts of monstrous beasts and horrible creatures that were just lurking feet below his bed. Knocking, 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 burrowing up to come for him. One of these days they're going to break through, they're going to reach up and tear me from my bed. That night, as he lay there awake, as he did every night, he fell asleep quite often during the day. They called him a daydreamer, but really, it was insomnia. And that night, as he was laying there awake, they finally broke through the floor. He thought he was mad. He thought maybe he was dreaming, that he had fallen asleep and not realized it. But there they were. These short little fellows, strong muscles, dirt in their hair, wild eyes, and hat brims that were long with candles melting, wax running along the top. Their eyes were dark. Their skin, beneath that dirt, looked very, very pale, almost translucent. And they looked at him, and when they smiled, their teeth all came to points, and he thought, oh, I'm on the menu. And he started to cry. And that's when they started to cheer. We found him, we found him, we found him, finally, our lost son. What? You're one of us. I am? Oh, those are still your baby teeth. These grow in a couple 100 years from now. How can I be one of you? My mother and father are down the hall. Oh no, your father stole you from us years ago. Our mines are not far from here. They stole you from us, and it's taken us a long time to track our blood, to find you where you lay. And we've been digging our way here. And then you moved around so much. We were so close last year. It's when his room was at the other end of the house. No. No, 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 no. If you think it's not true, then go outside tomorrow. Touch a rock and listen to it. Listen to it talk. If the rock talks back, you'll know. You'll know we're not lying to you. The dream went away. He went to sleep, and for the first time, he went to sleep without hearing the incessant knocking. He went to sleep, and there was silence, and he slept hard. And when he woke up in the morning and he went outside, it was a beautiful day. His parents were outside with him, and he turned to his mother and father and said, I had a weird dream last night. I dreamed that someone told me that you were not my parents. And his parents got a really funny look on their face, and they froze. The way someone freezes just before they tell you a lie. And then his mother started saying one thing and his father started saying something completely different. And he said, "Look, did you find me in a cave?" And they both got a very interesting look on their face. The look that a 5-year-old gets when you catch their hand in the cookie jar and you say, "Did you steal the cookie?" And they go to say no, but the damn thing's in their hand. That was the look. And he knew. He knew right then. But just in case this was still a mad dream, he reached down and at his foot there was a nice piece of granite. And granite is a plain and ordinary rock. And I mean, if a rock's going to talk to you, you'd think it'd be a fancy one, like a ruby or an emerald. But if you're going to challenge some preposterous statement like rocks will talk to you, pick up an ordinary one and see what it says. And so he picked up that ordinary rock and held it in his hand the way you would if you were going to pitch a baseball. And with his hands in a prayer pose, he said, "Hello." And the rock spoke back. The rock spoke of ages of being part of a mountain and finally being chipped away by ice and rain and wind and tumbling down, and how much it wanted to travel the world and all the things it wanted to see and all the things that had stepped on it. He wondered if he was on LSD. He was only 11. Tough quandary. That day was a challenge for him because now everywhere he went he picked up rocks and he started talking to them and the rocks were talking back. And he had such an urge to get out of the sun. It was so bright. It was incessantly everywhere and it was burning the back of his mind. And that night when the sun set and it was time to go home and his mother was calling, come in, it's time for dinner," he found his feet wandering the path to the mine. And when he got to the mine, he called out, "Hello!" And in the distance, he heard the sounds of celebration. "Who's there?" someone said. And another voice said, "It's our son. He's come home."